What's up, guys? It's Eric from Rare Candy, and today we're back with round two of the recent Standard Format League Challenge that myself and Marcus got to go attend. And speaking of which, you actually have both of us yet again in round two of the League Challenge. This happened at the last one too. We both got paired up for the featured match in the second round. If you want to go see us duke it out there, I'll put a link for that if you guys want to check that out too. But anyways, on the left, we have Marcus. He's over there playing Mega Rayquaza, and I'm on the right playing Xerneas BREAK Giratina EX. So I've played with this Xerneas BREAK deck before. We did a video on PTCGO a little bit ago. This list is pretty similar to that, but I think there's one or two cards that are different from the last video we did. So on paper, I have to be honest, I don't think this is a great matchup for Marcus, just because Mega Rayquaza is super fast, but Giratina EX walls hard against Mega Rayquaza. It shuts off their special energy stadiums and tools and prevents Mega Pokemon from doing anything to Giratina. So that's definitely a difficult matchup. I also played Klefki in this list, so you can actually turn your Xerneas into big walls too against Megas. So, like I said, definitely not the ideal matchup, but Mega Rayquaza, if it has one thing going for it, it's, I think, debatably the fastest deck in format right now. So, if Mega Rayquaza has a fast start, it could potentially just overpower these decks that look like they can potentially that that could potentially give Mega Rayquaza a problem. And I think Marcus plays 2 Hex in his list, if I'm not mistaken. So he definitely has ways to get around Giratina EX here. So we'll have to see how that might come into play in this match. So, and I'm talking about Giratina a lot. For you guys who don't know, it has the Renegade Pulse ability. It prevents all effects of attacks, including damage done to it by Mega Pokemon. And Mega Rayquaza is Marcus's only attacker here, so that's why it's a bit of a difficult matchup, I think. But Marcus still does have other outs too, like the regular Rayquaza EX can do 60 damage for 1 energy, and since it's not a Mega, it can actually hurt Giratina. So, and he also plays the Stardust Jirachi that discards special energies. So we'll have to see how this goes for him, but he definitely does have a few outs to Giratina in his list. So here I am going first. I unfortunately have to start with Klefki. It's definitely a good card, but not one that you want to start with. Here I'm debating about what I want to discard with the Ultra Ball. So it looks like I'm discarding a Lysander and a Fairy Energy. Probably grab a Giratina EX if I had to imagine, or maybe a Shaman if the rest of my hand is a little dead. But we probably want to start powering up a Giratina. I'm not sure if we have a Double Dragon Energy in hand, but if I do, I would imagine that's probably what I'm going to grab. So yeah, it looks like I have Giratina. It looks like that's what I'm eyeing down here. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I had an Ultra Ball in hand as well. So I think maybe I was debating if I wanted to grab a Shaman, but I think I opted to grab the Giratina and save the Ultra Ball to potentially grab a Shaman on the next turn, though. Because I can play the Ultra Ball, but there are some cards in my hand I actually do want to keep, if I remember correctly. So here I'm going to attach a Double Dragon Energy, and I actually have a Hex Maniac in hand, so that's actually really powerful against Marcus. So I didn't know if I wanted to play the Hex or Ultra Ball for a Shaman and keep drawing cards. So yeah, it looks like I'm really torn here. But yeah, I'm just going to Hex Maniac, so that'll prevent both players from using abilities until the end of my opponent's next turn. And that's actually huge because on the first turn or two of the game, Mega Rayquaza is so reliant on abilities. Between using Shaman EX's setup and Hoopa EX's Scoundrel Ring, that's really where the bulk of the deck's speed is from its abilities. So not being able to use your abilities is huge. So the Xerneas deck is a little bit slower, so this Hex Maniac is great because it kind of forces Marcus to play at our speed here. And here he's just debating. I know he has a Sycamore in hand. He's like, man, what do I want to do? Do I want to just wait until the next turn? That way I can actually play down and do all these abilities that I'm thinking about? Or do I just want to Sycamore my hand and try to draw cards that way instead? But I think Marcus has a decent amount of resources and he doesn't want to get rid of them. So here's is actually pretty good. So I do have the Ultra Ball to grab Shaman. That will allow me to draw out of this. It is unfortunate I had to discard a Max Elixir just because that is a card that helps us get a little bit speedier and keep up with the pace of this fast Mega Rayquaza deck. But nevertheless, we do need to draw cards really badly. So grab Shaman. We need at least an energy attachment for this turn. And if we can, what would be great is to get a double dragon energy and then Hex Maniac again. That would be amazing. But I'm not sure if we have the card for that. Here I'm going to grab a Fairy Garden, it looks like. And I am opting to play it. I do think that's a little interesting. I don't know why I did that in hindsight. Just because I don't really need to retreat anything. So, yeah, I'm not sure why I did that in hindsight. But here I do have a Versus Seeker. I could potentially Hex Maniac again, but really I don't see that doing much good just because we won't have gained any new board position from this turn otherwise. So I know I have an N in hand. I think that is probably the better way to go in this situation. Oh, I do have Sycamore as well and Xerneas BREAK, but uh, I had to guess. I think N would be the way to go here. Just because I think we probably want to save some of those resources. Here I'm going to play an N, and even though Marcus didn't play any cards from hand, and that normally would be assigned to just Sycamore, I'm pretty confident the reason why he didn't play any cards was because of the Hex Maniac. Mega Rayquaza typically has a ton of options on its first turn, so I wasn't worried that I was bailing Marcus out of a bad hand or anything like that at all. So here, going to get down a Xerneas, and okay, so we do get an energy attachment. That's pretty big. That's the big thing we needed for the turn. And so we do have a Clef Key active. In case you guys aren't familiar with that card, it's a new Pokemon from Steam Siege. If it's on your bench, you can discard all of the cards attached to it and attach it as a tool to one of your Pokemon. And basically, it prevents damage done by Megas. So our Giratina EX is already wall against Megas, but on the early turns of the game, when we're still setting up, if we're using Xerneas, we can attach it to Xerneas or even a Shaman and potentially wall for a turn while we set up a bit more. So that's kind of the purpose of the card in the deck. Okay, so Marks has a he has a double colorless on his Rayquaza. He probably figures he wants to get that down before Giratina starts attacking and cutting off his special energies, but that end actually did a pretty good number on Marcus. He doesn't have much to work with here. And looks like he's thinking about just retreating and using Intensifying Burn for 10 damage. If I'm Marcus here, I actually probably would have left the Shaman active just because I don't think that 10 damage really gets you anywhere. But here I'm going to Sycamore. If we can get a Max Elixir, that'd be great because then we could actually attack with our Giratina this turn. So what do we have here to do? That's the big question. I see an N in hand. Not sure what else we have to work with, but even if we just have to pass, it's not the worst thing in the world. So as we know, Marcus's hand is pretty dead. We can afford to play a little bit slowly this turn if need be. So what does Marcus really have to work with? If we have Versus Seeker in hand, we know we got a Skyfield off the Trainer's Mail. He should probably play that and get rid of our Fairy Garden. Fury is going to play Escape Rope, which is kind of annoying because now we will need an attachment and a Fairy Energy an attachment and a Max Elixir for the next turn to actually attack with Giratina. So maybe I should have attached that Fairy Energy just to Giratina, and that way we could have just attached for my new turn right now to retreat. So that might have been a slight misplay on my part. But we could still potentially get the Max Elixir and make it happen. So we'll just have to see. Okay, so what do we have? What do we have to work with here? What would actually be a really cool play if I forget what I did in this match, but if we have a Fairy Energy, I'd almost just be content using Hex Maniac again, since we know we have Versus Seeker, and then just doing Geomancy. But I'm not sure if we have both cards in hand to be able to do that, but I feel like that'd be a cute play if we could actually pull it off. Okay, so we have another double Dragon Energy. The only downside to this is that Giratina has a lot of energy committed to it right now. Okay, but so he just played Hex Maniac, which is great. We know Marcus got that Shaman back in his hand, so now he won't be able to play it and set up for 6. So I know that has to be super frustrating for him. This is probably actually one of the slower games I've ever seen Mega Rayquaza have, so not the best not the best matchup for a Mega Rayquaza deck to have a slow start, I'll say that. Here he's just playing a Puzzle of Time, hoping probably just to draw out of this hand that he has. So unfortunately, I really just don't know what you do here. You probably just pass since you can't play down the Shaman. Well, you can play it down, just won't. You can't use its ability. So you're going to play Ultra Ball, getting rid of the regular Xerneas. Since this list does play 4, you can probably get rid of 1 or 2 at some point in the game. And here I'm just opting to get rid of a break. I mean, either one's fine. Here, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was just trying to look through my deck and see just what all we had left. I don't think I was looking for anything in particular here. So the big thing is we really just want an energy now. That's the big thing, I think. And here we're going to grab probably Sycamore if I had to guess, because we don't really want to end Marcus here. So we're just going to Sycamore away that Xerneas in the end. Okay, and we do hit the Fairy Energy, so I think a slight misplay not benching that, or not playing down that Sky Field that Marcus had in hand, because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to retreat this turn. So we're going to play Super Rod, going to grab a couple Fairy Energies. That way we have a higher chance of hitting one off of Max Elixir. And really, Giratina EX is the main attacker of this deck, so we don't really need to shuffle any Xerneas back in. Okay, so we hit one, gonna start powering up that other Giratina EX just in case Marcus does have a way to deal with this first one that we're going to put up. Okay, so here we are going to retreat for free thanks to Fairy Garden, and we're going to use Giratina EX's attack, Chaos Wheel. So it'll do 100 damage, 110 when you count the Fighting Fury Belt attached, but it'll prevent Marcus from playing Special Energy, Tools, and Stadiums. And here I'm just reminding Marcus, hey man, you can't do that. You're not going to slide that by me. So here he's going to play Shaman. And it's got to be frustrating since he has a Skyfield in hand and he can't put it down here. So he's just going to Intensifying Burn here for 60 damage. Not that great because he will have to 4-shot this Giratina, but it's really his only way of dealing with it currently. Because even if he had a Mega Rayquaza out and was able to use Hex Maniac, he wouldn't be able to do too much at this current point. Since Mega Rayquaza's attack Emerald Break does 30 damage times the number of bench Pokemon that the player has. So right now he'd only be swinging for a measly 30 damage, so not the greatest. Here he's going to grab Ultra Ball, and now he's probably going to start getting a little bit more setup. He's probably going to grab himself a Hoopa EX. That way he can start filling up his bench with a bunch of EXs. So Hoopa has that ability, Scoundrel Ring. Whenever you bench him, it lets you get 3 EXs out of your deck. So that's kind of cool because you can grab maybe like a Rayquaza, a Shaman, and then like a Mega Rayquaza as well. Okay, so he's going to grab himself 2 Rayquazas and a Shaman there. He does have to be a little bit careful since he doesn't have Skyfield to work with this turn. He can't play down as many bench Pokemon as normal. So if you're Marcus, I think you just kind of have to rotate between Rayquazas and use Intensifying Burn. I think that's really your only out right now. So I know it's not the greatest attack to do on Giratina, but like I said, Mega Rayquaza is not that great in this situation otherwise. So here, what are we going to do? Probably have to retreat into this other Giratina EX, if I had to guess. So we're going to do Max Elixir. Hopefully we can power up this other Giratina, and it looks like we do get the Fairy Energy, so that's good. So we have a couple options here. We can attack with Giratina EX, the benched one, or if we have a Fairy in hand, we can actually attack with Xerneas BREAK. And Xerneas BREAK has a really good attack here if your board state goes unchecked like this. So its attack life stream does 20 times the number of energy on field. So right now it does, let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 8. Yeah, so we're hitting for like 200 something damage. And especially if we attach this Klefki to our Xerneas BREAK, it'll ensure that, which I'm doing here, that will ensure that even if Marcus gets a Mega Rayquaza going, he won't actually be able to even knock it out. And okay, so we're going to do a live stream for, I believe it was 200 damage, might have been 220, something like that. But here, Marcus, you can see he was sitting on a bunch of resources. He was waiting to play down. So right now, this turn, he really needs a Mega Rayquaza and a Hex Maniac, but looks like he had to play that N. It is good because it'll put me only down at a 2-card hand, and Marcus will get a fresh hand size of 6. But he really doesn't have a good way to actually deal with this Xerneas BREAK now. So it's just all around not a good situation right here, especially because if this Xerneas doesn't get taken out or another Pokemon with energy doesn't get knocked out, then I believe I will actually have enough energy on the board to knock out even a fresh Mega Rayquaza. So this is, I think, a make or break turn for Marcus in this situation here. Um, so he does play. You know, it's just hard to say. I'm not sure if I'm seeing an out here. I think his only potential out would be to promote a non-EX like Jirachi and let that get knocked out because that'll kind of force me into taking 7 prizes. So I think that's a little bit unfortunate. So I think, it's hard to say here. If he can play an escape rope, that could be somewhat relevant, I think. So he has 2 puzzle attempts, so he has an escape rope option. Looks like he's grabbing Ultra Ball. Yeah, if he grabbed the escape rope and played that, he can maybe bait me into promoting a Giratina, and then he could Ultra Ball for Jirachi and attack with that to use Stardust. Well, actually, I'm not sure because I believe Mark's already attached the double Colorless energy, so he won't be able to power up anyone else. Yeah, so I think his only option at this point is literally just to grab Jirachi from his deck, if it's in there, of course, and then just pass. So we'll see what happens here. He's grabbing a Trainer's Mail and an Ultra Ball, it looks like. So he's going to play Ultra Ball, get rid of Pokemon Ranger and a Metal Energy. So he's going to grab himself a Hoopa, going to grab some more EXs out of his deck. Okay, so get himself a Mega and a Shaman. I think he can still grab one more Pokemon. I'm not sure if there's anything he needs from his deck that could actually be useful here in this situation. Okay, it looks like he's just going to grab himself a Giratina EX as well. So I'm not sure, maybe if Marcus didn't realize the Klefki, maybe he's still planning on going for, the big aggro Mega Rayquaza attack here. So Mega Turbo, yep. Trainer's Mail. So if this Klefki hadn't been attached, I actually think this would have been a really good turn for Marcus here. but unfortunately, I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. So, because you'd have to think, I have a 2-card hand, he has a full bench. Even if I promote a new Giratina EX, if he has a Hex Maniac, he can just knock out the Giratina. So I think this Klefki, it's just a one of tech in the deck, but had I not played it, um, this turn would be a lot different, I think. So I'm not sure what Marcus is still digging for at this point. He's already attached, played a stadium. Oh, but here looks like he's checking out what the Klefki does. So, like I said, maybe he didn't quite realize what all it did at the time. So he's probably just thinking, is there any way? But I don't believe so. And it does get discarded though. But here I can just attach an extra energy just because, and I think we're actually doing 240 damage. Yeah, so something like that. So we're definitely one-shotting Mega Closet, and Marcus is just a little blown away. He didn't probably expect that. Xerneas BREAK normally doesn't hit for that much, but since Giratina is immune to these megas, it's pretty easy to pile on extra energy and have them not be able to get wiped from the field. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the second round from our League Challenge coverage. Unfortunately, that Hex Maniac probably messed up Marcus, and then that end gave him a really bad hand to work with. So um, not not ideal, the ideal start if you're a Mega Rayquaza player. But anyways, still a fun match to watch. Um, and like I said, we have 2 more rounds coming up in this league challenge, so definitely stick around for those. But as usual, guys, feel free to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out our merch over at rarecandytcg.com. We actually have some items on sale right now. I forget which ones off the top of my head, but we do have some on sale. So definitely go check those out. See if there's a playmat or a shirt or something you might want to pick up. Help support the channel. It'd mean a lot to us. But with that, guys, I appreciate you watching, and we will see you for the next one, okay?